updates in Fortnite Creative. Today I'm going over the top 10 best ever. Okay, we're gonna start at number 10. The actual release of Fortnite Creative had to be on this list because it came out as an update to Fortnite Battle Royale. It made a big deal about it, bringing in a whole bunch of different streamers and content creators. And while what they released was a very, very basic version of Creative, it was so great to have something other than Battle Royale or Save the World to play. And it came at a time when I was personally getting really tired of Battle Royale and needed a change quick. This had to be on my list and I put it at number 10. Okay, number 9. The Modular Terrain was a huge update for me. We've been talking about terrain for so long in creative mode, about how we've needed a terrain editor or something to give us more options. Only having these like basic terrain pieces has been such a pain to work with for years. We had to come up with all sorts of crazy tricks and ways to use those terrain pieces to make what we wanted, and we did pretty good with them. The addition of these modular galleries, including the ones where you can build on it now, has been really eye-opening to me. To be able to create cool terrain so quickly has been so nice. While I hope this is just the start of the terrain they give us, I'm still holding out for a terrain editor. I really think that would be huge. Modular terrain has been awesome. The number 8 thing on this list is the water device. I almost left this device off the list, but water has been something we've always needed in creative. In the past, you'd have to go to different islands, like the Archipelago Islands, or you'd have to go do like the Kevin Island and delete the Kevin prefabs up above to get water like this that you could swim in your island. But now, you can place it wherever you want and have dynamic water in your map. Like, that is huge. And with the leak that waterfalls are coming, mixed with this water, it's brought creative up to a whole new level. Coming in at number 7, we've got the primitive shapes. The primitive shapes came out in July of 2020. 2020 was actually a really hard year for creative. We got hardly any updates, and when they were updates, it was just prefabs and galleries. And while we got some really good galleries, like the princess galleries, which were one of my favorite and almost made this top 10 list, the primitive shapes came at a time when we just didn't have anything in creative. And they opened up a whole new world of sculpting. And now I look around creative mode at some of the sculptures that come out of these amazing creators, and I'm absolutely blown away. And while I think the primitive shapes might become obsolete when we get Creative 2.0, they're an amazing tool for Creative 1.0 and absolutely deserve a top in this top 10 list. The number 6 thing should probably be ranked higher, but for this I'm talking about triggers and channels. When Creative mode first came out, we didn't have any way to signal anything, but then triggers came out and it gave us the ability to do things like jump scares, to trigger events, to trigger winning or losing a game. Like, if there was a beating heart of the mechanics of creative, it's triggers. And along with that is how many channels we can use. When we first got triggers, you could only have 8 channels, I think. Like, that is crazy few. And a lot of creators figured out ways to make super advanced maps with only 8 channels, but today we can have up to 500 channels, and the ability to send that many signals and trigger different things in maps have made it so people can do some advanced stuff that we just couldn't do before. Coming in at number 5 is the thermometer islands. Memory has been one of the top issues of Fortnite Creative. We are limited to what we can build because the memory is so low, but thermometer islands have made it so we can do a lot more. And while these giant islands are certainly bugged, I personally use them a lot for any map that's gonna be just a little bit bigger than normal creative can handle. My greatest hope is that someday we can all have access to the real Battle Royale island and use that for our maps. That would be so crazy. The number 4 best update ever is actually a number of updates. I hope this isn't cheating. When they added prop devices for the barrier device, the damage volume zone, the mutator zone, and other devices, the game changed forever. And particularly among these, I would say the mutator zone being on a prop device, probably one of the biggest updates we've ever had. You can trigger and do so much with the mutator zone. Like, I don't even know if you need triggers anymore because you can use the mutator zone as a prop. There is one device we still really need as a prop, and that's the sequencer, guys. I understand that the sequencer would be hard to make as a prop, but man, if they can ever do that, it would be a game changer. Number 3 should probably be number 1. When Creative first came out, you had to build on this grid. There was no way to build outside of it unless you use a prop like a bookshelf. Props could be manipulated and rotated and stuff like that, but walls had to be placed, and that was for like the first year of creative. But then they introduced building as a prop, and now everything in the game can be manipulated, can be resized, can be rotated, and used in whatever fashion really that the builder wants. And the reason I said this should probably be number 1, because after that update, maps just completely changed. Instead of being these boxy, boring maps, now we were getting stuff that was just visually out of this world. And when you give these tools to artistic masters, you start to get things that are gonna blow people away. So this was a huge update for me, and I don't know if they're ever gonna top that. The number 2 is one of my personal favorites of all time, but it was the vehicle update. When we got cars in creative mode, I was so excited. We're driving in creative mode. Oh my gosh, I never thought this day would come. And then a few weeks after cars came out, we got helicopters. And then soon after that, we got the alien ships. We started getting all of the vehicles that we had so long desired. Before that, the best vehicle we probably had was the quad crasher. It was the fastest vehicle we had, but it's just kind of an awkward vehicle because you can do so many weird things with it. Or it was just the ATK, which is so slow and boring for like big races. Being able to have cars that were fast and fun open up whole new categories in creative mode. And not only that, this was like the first big update in creative that we had had. Like I said before, 2020 was a kind of a slow year, and we all were wondering if creative was going to die. 2021 started off with a bang with these cars, and it brought in a big breath of fresh air into this game mode that had gotten really stale. Now, before I show you my number 1, I've got a few honorable mentions. I've already mentioned the princess galleries, and for me, those are huge because I use them all of the time. But I also got to throw in the IO galleries as one of the best galleries we've ever gotten. Also, the haunted galleries are absolutely spectacular. I use them all of the time. And then one of the galleries I use the most of all is the craggy cliff galleries. I don't know what it is about these galleries, guys, but I am always in here grabbing different things. Like, these are some of the best walls in the game. I also find myself using their roof pieces all of the time. And while at the time I didn't think it was a good update, it's probably one of the better updates we've gotten for prefabs and galleries. And finally, I need to say all of these devices we've got are absolutely amazing. I've loved all of the updates we've got recently, and honestly throughout the whole history of creative. I feel like anything we get is a huge update. Okay, the number 1 update, and I bet you guys can guess this, is the prop mover, and I'm gonna throw in the prop manipulator with this. I feel like since the prop manipulator has come out and subsequently the prop mover, we've seen a whole new level of map, like things that we could never have dreamed about before. You may have noticed Cypher PK came out with a video last week responding to me calling him out.
Guys, I got exposed. I made a video talking about Creative 2.0, and one of the biggest creative content creators, Mustard Plays, made a response video.
There's a lot of these tools that people talk about for Creative 2.0 that we actually already have.
Apparently, what most players don't know is a lot of the things I talked about in that video is already being added in Creative.
So he reached out to me and asked me to send him a bunch of maps that showed off cool new things in Creative. He was blown away at the stuff that he just hadn't seen yet.
What in the world? I feel like a year ago this was not possible. I don't know how this person did this. Oh my god, what?
And most of the things that he was really wowed by were from the prop manipulator and the prop mover. These are 2 devices that kind of give us a glimpse into what Creative 2.0 could become, but just on a little more of a rudimentary level. I hope we get more devices like this that give us the ability to animate and to provide more immersion for our players. These devices definitely allow us to immerse our players in the game. That's why they're my number 1.